With Shai Gilgeous-Alexander becoming the highest annually paid player in NBA history, it got us thinking, who's the next Supermax player here in DC? We're here to tell you they're already on the roster.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, this is Locked On Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day, as we are free across all platforms. Be sure to check us out, follow us on our socials, and subscribe on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Alongside DC Sports content creating savant and credentialed media member for the Washington Wizards, it's Abdullah Ayubi. I'm Ben Strober, and I cover all things DC Sports for 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980 here in Washington. Action-packed episode for you today. Not a lot going on in NBA free agency. If you are a Wizards fan, there's been a lot more that has happened elsewhere. We'll unpack that in the third segment today. We'll also touch on the Wizards Summer League. Should be a really talented roster the Wizards bring to the table for the Summer League that begins on July 11th. We'll preview that in the next segment. But right now, to cap things off, we're going to talk about supermax contracts. And I know that's something that maybe is a sore subject here in our nation's capital, because the last two players to get supermax contracts did not have the best endings, to say the least. John Wall and Bradley Beal did not last very long in our nation's capital after those supermax contracts. But put those personal feelings to the side, because today we're speaking a little bit more hypothetically, and we're talking about the idea of someone on this Wizards roster becoming an all-NBA type player, a superstar player, something that will be necessary for the Wizards to take the next step as a franchise a couple years down the road. Abdullah, do the Wizards have a supermax player in the future already on this roster?
I definitely think so, and I think the talent that this Wizards team has, there's got to be at least one of these guys that are definitely going to be worth the supermax. I mean, you brought up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, $71.25 million a year. It's insane, and it's only going to keep going up. I think for the Wizards, Alex Sarr is a guy who I really, really like, but if I'm talking about the guard direction, I think Trey Johnson, and I know he just got drafted. It was, for me, looking at this episode, it was between Bub and him, but I don't know Bub Carrington's going to be a baller, but I think Trey Johnson's scoring ability and what he did at Texas is just going to prove why he should be a Rookie of the Year finalist. I think him and Cooper Flag are going to compete for that Rookie of the Year award. A lot of it comes down to the opportunities that he's going to have here in Washington. If you look at the other candidates, VJ Edgecombe's dealing with Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Jared McCain in Philly, and Ace Bailey in Utah. We don't know how that situation is going to unfold. Cooper Flag, I mean, he's definitely going to be given the keys early on the season, but with AD and Kyrie dealing with injuries, so we'll have to see. But I think Trey Johnson's going to get a lot of minutes come this year. And again, this Wizards year, this is the not first time, but I'll say one thing for sure is that we'll have one more year of justifying not being good. But after this year, we want to see this team compete. So I think Trey Johnson could be that potential supermax. And I know he hasn't played an NBA game. I'm already so high on him, but coming into the draft, I just didn't think he was going to be there at 6. The fact that the Wizards got him at 6 and if he fell to their laps, it's just amazing. And if you're a Wizards fan right now, the supermax contract, it is some with PTSD, like you mentioned, but you also have to realize this is a new regime. Will Dawkins, Michael Winger and company, they know what they're doing. So if they offer a guy that much money, it definitely means something.
And look, I have no problem giving somebody a supermax contract if they deserve the damn thing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, highest paid annual player in NBA history at $71.25 million with his 4-year, $285 million extension, and deservingly so. The dude just put up one of the best scoring seasons in recent memory. Prior to the NBA Finals, he came in to the finals with more points scored throughout the entire season than anybody since Michael Jordan in 1993. So put that into perspective, and you tell me if SGA deserved the kind of money he got. And then he caps it off with the finals MVP. And that's just scoring alone. He's a guy that gets it done on both ends of the floor, plays phenomenal defense, nearly 2 steals per game in the NBA postseason. Speaking of guys who I think can get it done, both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively here in Washington, and will continue to do it going forward For me, it's the former number 2 overall pick, Alex Sarr. There are so many reasons I can go on why people are sleeping on Alex Sarr right now. I think from what we saw in the second half of the year from the 7-footer is the kind of player that we expect him to become, the kind of player you expect your former number 2 overall pick to be. And I think it's hard to evaluate a guy that's playing on a team that's consistently losing, and at one point last year losing every game by 30 on a 16-game losing streak twice throughout the year. This year, I feel like the team is going to compete a lot more. And I know he doesn't have that big alongside him, maybe to help take some of the weight off his shoulders, have him play more in a position that's going to benefit him long-term at the 4. But there are plenty of reasons why I'm so high on Alex Sarr. I was on the B. Mitch and Finley show this morning, and we had the same exact conversation here about superstar players and who could be the next max contract. I was the only one in the room who put out the idea of Alex Sarr. I had this to say today. I'll play the audio for you right here and break it down a little bit more. This is what I had to say about Alex Sarr becoming a supermax player.
All right, Strober, who's the supermax?
To go against what you guys picked, I actually do have the former number 2 overall pick, Alex Sarr, coming into his own and becoming a supermax player. I think at his size and his skill set, he just scratched the surface in the second half of the year last year. And overall, he shot at 30% from 3. I think he can get a lot better around the perimeter. His touch around the rim is what intrigued me the most because he got better and better at that as the season went on. And he's an A-plus defender, and he's going to continue to be a force around the rim for this Wizards team. A block and a half per game last year, that's something he can get up as well. And because he can contribute so well on both sides of the ball, that's why I could see a guy that becomes an all-NBA type player and gets a supermax.
With that being said, both sides defensively is something I cited about Alex Sarr and why I like his game so much, because he has the tools to be an elite rim protector at this level. One thing he does need to get better at is rebounding the basketball, averaging around 6 per game last year. But as a 7-footer, I think you have to expect a little bit better. I think that's something that will need to improve in order for Alex Sarr to become an all-NBA level player, an all-defensive level player. He needs to get to the glass a little bit better. I don't really expect his rebounding numbers to be too much better next year because I think, once again, given how Washington has been very quiet in free agency so far and throughout the offseason have not added another veteran centerpiece, I don't see it being an easy task for him to grab rebounds. I think the Wizards are going to struggle on the glass mightily. We talked about it yesterday, how this might be kind of strategic for this Wizards team. But moving on with Alex Sarr, I think he has all the tools to become that all-NBA player that this franchise has been searching for quite some time. He's a former number 2 overall pick, and I think he's going to show it.
And it's crazy because not too long ago, Ben, people were calling him a bust after 5 summer league games. And I love the improvement from the first half of the season to the second half of the season. That game against Denver, where he put up 34 against Nikola Jokic, and the Wizards ended up winning that game. And it's kind of funny because the Wizards ended up sweeping the Nuggets this past season. It just goes to show that you have to be patient with guys like, for example, Alex Sarr, who came from the Australian League. It's a transition going from that league to the NBA. It's a night and day difference. And for Alex Sarr, definitely need to be more aggressive. I think you have to, at least if you're a 7-footer, average 9 to 10 rebounds. Again, I don't know if he'll get that in year 2, but I think he will be better offensively. Defensively, I think a rim protector, he's going to get better. He's already there, but I think he's only going to get better. And a big reason, it would be awesome to see a guy like Kevin Garnett come in there and mentor him, because I think he could definitely teach him a few things. Offensively, we saw last year, there were times where he would be very hesitant to go to the basket and just settle on jump shots and 3-pointers, which it was a little frustrating. But again, it's a young guy who, when you're young, you're going to be aggressive, and with aggressiveness comes inefficiency. So the fact that we're having this conversation about Alex Sarr being a supermax player, and at one point people were calling him a bust after 5 summer league games, just goes to show the development of this guy. And that's just the embodiment of the whole Will Dawkins model here in DC.
Yeah, inefficiency is something you brought up there. That's actually really important, because I think that's the biggest glaring issue for me with Alex Sarr was his inefficiency offensively. And I know that's something that improved a lot, especially in the second half of the season. But overall, Sarr was under 40% on the floor, or from the floor rather. And I think as a guy who's a 7-footer, and I know he does live a little bit outside the painted area and he's proven the ability to stretch the floor, shooting around 30% from beyond the arc. But shooting under 40% from the field at 7 foot is not acceptable in my eyes. That is something that is going to have to be better for him going forward. I expect that to be better. I think if you are around 7 foot and you do spend your lot of time at the paint trying to use your touch around the rim, you have to be around at least 48 to 50% from the field. You need to be as efficient as possible, especially around the basket. I think Sarr just needs to get stronger, more aggressive, and just, relentlessly become a rim runner. I think that's something we didn't see enough of him throughout his rookie year, was the ability just to put the ball on the ground and run right to the rim. I think that's something that with his athletic ability and the skills that he has, we could see him develop that part of his game. But we're yet to see that. Alex Sarr has all of the tools, the intangibles, the work ethic, and I think with the current coaching staff in place, I think a lot of these things can actually be developed for a player like Alex Sarr to be a supermax player here in Washington one day.
And I think like you mentioned, he checks all those boxes, and he's only going to get better year two with a rookie Trey Johnson, Bub Carrington. I can't wait, man. And let's see, who knows? Potentially, you could have a front court of Chris Vucevic and Alex Sarr. That would be somewhat interesting. Could they complement each other really well? All I want to see is just development. It's okay if you make mistakes, because at the end of the day, this Wizards team, it's a young team. Newsflash, we're not going to be winning this year a lot, just like the last year and the year before. So it's all about those learning curves. And for Alex Sarr, year two, from how he started within that summer league last year to now, it's a crazy, crazy improvement.
The Wizards are not going to be winning a lot of games in the regular season, but they might win a lot in the summer league. Let's preview the summer league season coming up very soon next here on Locked On Wizards. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat, and it's like having your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center, and you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one singular place. In addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. One thing that was surprising I noticed when I downloaded Monarch Money was how much I was spending on food every single week. Not just going to the grocery store, but going out to buy energy drinks, coffee, whatever it may have been. I was spending so much more than I realized. And once I downloaded Monarch Money, I was able to really take control of my finances and get everything in check. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. It's July. It's the second day of July, which means we are 9 days away from the NBA Summer League. The Wizards have a completely stacked slate of games that we'll get into here in the Summer League. And boy, are we excited to talk about it here on Locked On Wizards, because this Wizards Summer League roster is going to be something special, something exciting, and something really intriguing to watch because of all of the young talent that's going to be there. And also the opponents that Washington will face. Just to cap it off here with an intro to what we'll see in the Summer League. July 11th, it all begins against Phoenix at 8 p.m. Central Time. So it'll be at 9 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone that night. We'll probably be doing a live stream for some of these games to kind of break down what we see going on. Phoenix, get a look at Kaman Malawach in the Summer League right there. Brooklyn, interesting, also will be playing there 2 days later. And then a look against VJ Edgecombe in Philadelphia. And then finally a matchup against Ace Bailey and the Utah Jazz on July 16th. So a lot of intriguing matchups. But the one thing that's the most intriguing about the Wizards come this Summer League was all of the young pieces that already got a year getting their feet wet in the NBA will get another chance on the floor in Vegas this summer, Abdullah.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, Ben, because this Summer League roster is essentially our regular season roster minus Bilal Coulibaly and Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton and these other vets, because you have a lot of young guys on this team. Again, going back to the youth movement. And one thing Will Dawkins emphasized, and this is something that I talked about not too long ago, what he did with the Oklahoma City Thunder in that year 2022, that Summer League, where year two of Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, they were forced to play. So I wouldn't be shocked if Bub Carrington and Keyshawn George get a good amount of minutes. Alex Sarr, you mentioned maybe he could be participating with France. Who knows? But it would be awesome to see him in the summer league. If not, all is well with him in France. And I'm excited for this Wizards team to play in this summer. I haven't been hyped for the summer league in a while because, again, there's just so much young talent on this team. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they distribute the load because, again, it's only 4 or 5 games. And you want to make sure you're impressed, but you also want to make sure that you're a team that's competing. And I think they should, I don't know, make it to the championship, but definitely be in the Final Four.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. The expectation should be they do very well in this summer league. And I know Alex Sarr is kind of the wild card here because he's probably playing in France, so I wouldn't really expect him to play in the summer league, but it is possible. In this case, if he does play, that would mean there'd be 7 first-round picks from the previous 2 drafts that would be playing on this Wizards Summer League roster between Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, A.J. Johnson, Trey Johnson, Will Riley, and then Dylan Jones, who was added to the Wizards via the trade over the weekend. So you're adding another piece to look at and fully evaluate right there, which is something that I really love to see for the Wizards, because I know Dylan Jones in Oklahoma City, they had him playing out of position in the G League, didn't really get a fair opportunity just because of the way the roster was set up there in OKC. There wasn't really an ability to get a look at him at his natural position and utilize him the way that would be best fit for him. This is a guy, Sam Presti, traded up 5 second-round picks to get him just so Boston couldn't. A competitor in a completely different conference. That's how high they were on him. And maybe Presti with this move is trying to admit that they were wrong about Dylan Jones, but I think it's too early in his career, especially given that he has not been given a fair opportunity yet to prove himself. So I'm really intrigued to watch him in this NBA Summer League, especially because we didn't see a lot of him last year and obviously new to our team as well.
Yeah, Dylan Jones is a guy who Will Dawkins somehow managed to swoop out of Oklahoma City. You give up Colby Jones, who gave good amount of minutes when given the opportunity, but you package that and in return you get a former first-round pick and a second-round pick. Will Dawkins is making more magical moves every single day here in DC. I'm excited for it. I mean, this is the easy pick, but Trey Johnson, I think the hype that he's been getting, the hype that I've been giving him these past couple episodes here in Washington, I think he's going to really, really ball out in the summer league. And I think the the matchup against Ace Bailey is going to be really, really intriguing because Ace Bailey could have potentially been a Wizard if Utah passed up on him. So, well, I can't wait. But one thing for sure, a lot of Wizards fans, and I'm hoping they understood this from last year, where if any of the young guys they don't perform well, that doesn't mean it's going to translate into the NBA. And the clear case study for that is Alex Sarr. I mean, 5 summer league games last year. That first summer league game went 0 for 11 or whatever the stat was. It was a really, really bad game, and a lot of people were calling him out for it, saying that he sucks. He's not going to be good. Second overall pick. What the heck? But you saw in the regular season, he got better. So we just can't be so, man, like, why are these guys playing bad in the summer league? They're not going to be really good NBA players. To me, it's just ridiculous when NBA fans do that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm the most intrigued to just watch the guys play together and see an expanded role for Bub Carrington. I know it's early on and maybe it's not definitive what you see out of these guys and how much they truly play. I guess it's up to the front office to see how much they need to see of certain guys. But with Carrington getting a more expanded role this year, it would expect him to play a lot and see a lot of different things from him. I want to see how much a guy's game could have changed in a couple months, because obviously the regular season ends, and now you're looking at it really 3.5 months after the end of the regular season. Could we see different aspects of a player's game already develop? Bub Carrington, do we see him get to the free throw line with more regularity here in the summer league? Do we see him create his own shot off the dribble and finish better at the rim? Because I think that was the one thing that was a glaring issue for him throughout his rookie season. He played in all 82 games, was on all NBA rookie second team. But there were certain things where he showed flashes despite having a pretty tough start to his rookie year, kind of like Alex Sarr did. But the development was the biggest thing, and this is another opportunity in this summer league for Wizards players to exactly develop and get a really good look at it. Let us know in the comments what you're looking forward to the most about this summer league, because we want to hear all of it. Maybe there's something we're not even thinking of at this point. The possibilities are endless.
This is early, Ben, but who do you, and really, really early, but who do you think is going to be the leading scorer after the summer league when it comes to points per game?
Let's go. Let's answer this right now. I think Bub Carrington is going to lead the team in scoring.
I'm going
for
with
the
Trey
summer league.
Johnson. If it wasn't for Trey, I would go Bub. But I think those two are going to be really, really a good. They're going to be performing really well in these summer league games.
I think Bub is going to shoot a high volume of shots here in the summer league, and I know, getting a much larger role on the ball this year with the departure of Jordan Poole, you'd expect maybe they're going to be interested in seeing how he play makes well. So maybe that does favor Trey Johnson or somebody like that being the leading scorer. But I think he's going to attack the basket and really work on trying to finish at the rim and get to the free throw line. So I think that kind of stacks up with the amount of touches he's going to get. I could easily see him being a guy that scores, 20 points per game in this summer league if things go his way and he has a hot shooting night. So I'm really interested to seeing that. That's my pick right now.
Yeah, and I got to go with Trey. I'll just be different, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not Trey Johnson. It's Bub Carrington. I mean, Bub Carrington's a dog, like you mentioned. Played 82 games last year, hitting a floater for the win. Your last regular season game as a rookie, he just checks off all the boxes, and I think he's going to be really, really good. And he's a big reason why he could be the next supermax player here in Washington, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that was who Chase Hughes, when he was on the B. Mitch and Finley show earlier today, he said that Bub Carrington was the player that he could see being a supermax player here in DC. Summer League starting in just over a week. A lot of fun. We'll have a lot of coverage for that here on Locked On Wizards. One thing that's been slow and pretty boring for us, to be honest, is NBA free agency. There's been quite a bit that has happened around the association. Not much in Washington. We'll hit that next here for the final segment of Locked On Wizards today. Abdullah, admittedly, I'm a little bit jealous of some of our colleagues here at the Locked On Podcast Network because they've had so much to talk about, so much to be excited about when it comes to NBA free agency. You and I, we've had nothing at all. I don't think Washington is going to do anything. I don't think they really have the ability because, as we touched on yesterday, Wizards are pretty much set at that $18 million threshold. They can't go into the second apron for that. And basically, they're making all these moves through exemptions or exceptions, excuse me. And maybe we see the Wizards add somebody late at this point, but I would not be shocked if the roster stands where it is right now. I just wanted to ask you overarching about the NBA because I know you're a guy that's been following free agency. You got the
Yeah,
notifications for Shams on closely. What surprised you the most here about free agency so far?
well, it's funny because I was waiting for a notification to come up about the Wizards because as soon as we're recording, something has to happen, especially since with the Anthony Gill situation, when we were talking about him, and then he gets waived 30 minutes after our episode that we posted. But I think for agency, it's been crazy. I mean, not for the Wizards, but I got to talk about the Bucks. Them waiving Damian Lillard, I just did not see that coming, and them bringing in Miles Turner. It's so funny because for so long, and Miles Turner these past couple of years in Indiana, he's always been in trade talks. It was like the Lakers are going to trade for him.
I know, dude.
And the one time when they go far in the playoffs, go to Game 7 in the NBA Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder, a dynasty, he's gone. It gets that much money. So it's kind of funny how the NBA works. I want to talk about the Denver Nuggets. I think they're one of, if not one of the greatest, or not greatest, but they won the NBA free. They've been winning NBA free agency so far. Trading for Jonas Valanciunas, which happened today, for Dario Saric, who, let's be real, Ben, I just don't know when the last time bro played basketball. And you get Jonas Valanciunas, a good quality backup center who can come in and fill that void. And on top of that, you bring back Bruce Brown, the guy who made his career here in Denver, was a key piece of that 2023 championship team. And you get rid of Michael Porter Jr.'s contract. And Cam Johnson, who is a really, really solid wing, who maybe could be better than Michael Porter Jr. And that's what I'm talking about with the Denver Nuggets. They realize that, hey, Nikola Jokic isn't going to be as prime for 10 more years. We got to win now. And that's what NBA GM should do. And I loved it.
We've seen aggression from all these teams that are kind of surprisingly in win now modes. And a big part of that is because of the injuries in the Eastern Conference and how that's shaping up to be. Because you figure Boston, maybe not as much in the mix next year. Tatum's out for the year. Tyrese Halliburton out of the mix. Miles Turner's gone from Indiana, so things are not looking great over there in Gary. Then you're speaking of the other teams in the East. One team that has sneakily had maybe the best free agency for me is Atlanta. The Hawks have all of a sudden put together a squad that is 10 or 11 guys deep. which is something I did not expect at all because I feel like ever since the Hawks made the Eastern Conference Finals in 2021, they've been the most mediocre team in the NBA. I feel like them and the Bulls have pretty much just been like the most mediocre teams, like flirting with the play-in, not doing much else.
We know something about that, right, Ben?
We sure do. But the Hawks have kind of actually escaped that. Somehow Trae Young is actually still there. I really did not expect Trae Young to actually be on Atlanta a couple years back. I really thought that there would be an end to that marriage, but he stuck around. Now suddenly they have a squad that looks like it might be able to compete to be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. I know obviously New York will still stand in their way. Orlando is another team that's intriguing to look at here. But there's a lot of moving pieces in the Eastern Conference, and it's certainly open. So I got to give the Hawks a lot of credit for trying to attack at this moment and try to go after this window that's open. The Houston Rockets have also followed the same blueprint. They are absolutely in their championship window right now, and they have made moves to prove that that is how they're feeling. Is there anyone in free agency right now, Abdullah, that's disappointed you in terms of a team maybe you feel like should have gone out there and made some moves to become a true contender?
The Los Angeles Lakers. As much as people talk about that team, a lot of people want to talk about. I think DeAndre Ayton. I think it's there. I think it's going to happen in these next couple of days. But if I'm LeBron James, is this roster really that good to compete? Pick up that player option. Will he get traded? I do not know, but I just don't think they did enough. You lose Dorian Finney-Smith, who I think is a really good, solid 3-and-D wing, and he goes to the Houston Rockets. That's a team you're going to be competing for in the Western Conference. So I don't know if there's no way DeAndre Ayton is your, oh, wow, that's the move that gets you to that championship. Because, again, you have Luka Doncic, who looks in shape. I think he's going to be really, really good this upcoming year, hopefully. And LeBron James is 40, 41 years old. He's getting up there in age. So a DeAndre Ayton move isn't really going to push you over the top with these other Western Conference teams, especially since Houston's stacking up. And, Golden State, they still have Steph. And there's just a lot of more competition in the West now compared to the East.
And the LA Clippers got Brook Lopez, and I think a lot of people were expecting him to be a candidate to go to the other side of Los Angeles and play in the, crypto.com now, I guess? Crypto.com arena, not the Staples Center anymore. But anyways, the Lakers are in such a peculiar spot right here because obviously LeBron opts into his contract. Is LeBron a $51 million player right now at this point in his career? He's awesome. He's still one of the best. I think he's still almost an all-NBA talent. Is he worth $51 million right now? I don't know. I think also, considering he's coming off injury here in the postseason, I don't see it working in Los Angeles. And the one thing for me is because I'm low on Luka Doncic as a winning playoff player. And I know he got to the NBA Finals with the Dallas Mavericks, but watching him this past season in Los Angeles with the Lakers, and I know you can't fault him completely because everybody on the Lakers was trash defensively, including one of our former fan favorites in Rui Hachimura here in Washington. But Luka was such a liability defensively in that season, and the way the kind of shape he had himself in for the playoffs is something that I feel is unacceptable for a player that wants to win NBA championships. He could prove me wrong, and obviously he has the offensive talent to certainly do that. I am just not high on Luka Doncic. I'm not high on the Lakers at all. Another team that has made some good moves to keep guys in-house, but not a whole lot other than that, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They did lose Alexander, who departed in free agency because they weren't able to keep him because of the contracts. They had to extend Naz Reid to stay in Minnesota, which I think was a good move. But Minnesota, other than that, really hasn't been able to make a whole lot of other moves. And I always felt like they're a team that was really close, especially last year.
Yeah, and this goes back to, we talked about the Atlanta Hawks, we talked about the Nuggets. Right now, if you have that superstar-like player, like Anthony Edwards, like a Nikola Jokic, a borderline superstar, and maybe Trae Young, if he can improve himself this year, you have to win now and build pieces around him. You clearly see that superstar's weakness or the holes on that team. Put more talent around him, and that's what I love to see. And I'm hoping Will Dawkins, once this team starts competing, will follow that format.
See, isn't it fun, Abdullah, when you get to talk about making moves in free agency? Like, we just got to talk about other teams making moves because our Wizards have stayed put, and it seems like it's probably going to stay that way. Maybe that is subject to change, but alas, we move forward here on Locked On Wizards. We're getting closer and closer to the NBA Summer League, and we want to know everything down below. Let us know how you're feeling about the Wizards doing nothing here in free agency. Let us know what you're looking forward to about the Summer League and who's going to lead this team in scoring come the Summer League in a week and a half. That'll do it for us here today on Locked On Wizards. We want to thank you for making our show your first listen today. For your second listen, tune in to Locked On NBA podcast, where there is no offseason. Doug, Matt, and Hayes keep you up to date on contract negotiations, rumors, and everything you need to be the most informed about as an NBA fan. Find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. For my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober. We sign off. We will see you tomorrow on Locked On Wizards.